All rise. We will obey. The International Criminal Court is now in session. L'audience de Cour pénale internationale est ouverte. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Thank you very much. Court officer, the case, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Republic of Kenya in the case of the prosecutor versus William Samuel Ruto and Joshua Arap Sang. ICC 0109-0111. We are in open session.
Thank you. Appearances?
Morning, Your Honours. For the prosecution, appearances remain the same.
Good morning, Your Honours. The victims are represented by myself, Orson Lansik, James Maria, Amanda Wilmot, and Charlotte Devina. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honours. Mr. Sang's team remains the same, and Mr. Sang is present. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honours. The Ruto team remains the same.
Thank you very much. And witness, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. We're in open session now, and it's time that we'll continue with his examination in chief. Keep in mind, witness, the advice given to you yesterday about the tone. You are so far speaking at a moderate tone. That's a good tone, but try your best to observe the 5 seconds pause. You are doing it relatively well for much of the time, but try and do it all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honours. Perhaps the record should also reflect that the Rule 74 Council is also present today.
Indeed.
Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
Mr. Witness, when we left off yesterday, we were just dealing with certain events relating to the 2005 referendum. And before we move forward to the elections in 2007, I would just like to ask you a little bit, 1 or 2 more questions about that. At the time of the 2005 referendum, what was the most popular radio station in the Rift Valley?
In Rift Valley, the most popular radio station was KAS FM.
And on that radio station, please tell the court what was the most popular show and who was the most popular presenter.
The most popular show or program was a popular Lene Emet. And the presenter was Joshua Arap Sang.
And what was the significance of KAS FM and Mr. Sang in the 2005 referendum campaign?
This radio station and the program, plus its presenter, used the station as a platform to campaign for the No campaign.
And when you refer to its presenter, for the clarity of the record, who are you referring to?
Joshua Sang.
And tell us a bit more about how it was used as a platform for the No campaign.
This radio station allowed people to talk and campaign on it directly to the listeners, and at the same time they used KAS Kalenjin proverbs, and a popular song which was sung. It was played in the station, which provoked the Kalenjins. The song was called Kimibe Kwenet. We are in the middle of the sea.
What language is that?
Kimibe Kwenet is a Kalenjin language.
And let me just place the spelling on the record. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's K-I, new word, M-I, new word, B-E-K, new word, K-W-E-N-E-T. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how did this song provoke the Kalenjin?
The song, as I've explained, means we're in the middle of the sea. To mean, the Kalenjin understood it that we were in the middle of the sea, not until we win in the referendum, such that we'll be now out from the sea, or the other side of the sea. This song and proverbs that Mr. Joshua Sang used in the station, plus how the people used to campaign through calls in the station, actually provoked the people, especially the Kalenjins, through the program.
All right, I'd like to clarify one or two aspects. You've spoken on a couple of occasions about people calling. What was the format of Mr. Sang's show?
At times, he will put a question and people will be giving their opinions. At other times, people will be invited to the station for a discussion, and after they leave, you will hear him talk in proverbs, discussing afterwards what they were talking about.
You've also mentioned the use of proverbs on a few occasions. Tell us more about these proverbs. What were they? What did they signify?
The proverbs, the use of proverbs is significant to the Kalenjin community. They'll always use proverbs, songs, and similar kind of communication in order to pass information to the Kalenjin. Now, Sang used these proverbs, himself being a good orator and a person who can actually pass information very quickly through proverbs and songs. He used the platform of Kass FM to talk about it, to pass information through these proverbs. At times, you will hear him talk on proverbs like pig up chego, people of milk. You will hear him talk about proverbs like Goya Gosavis Muriat Kobagot Nebo. If in translation in English, that one means that if a rat is bad, it belongs to that house.
All right, I'm going to have to stop you there to try and clear up the record. You've mentioned two proverbs. Are those in the Kalenjin language?
Yes, Your Honor.
The first one you translated, I didn't quite hear you. The record says milk. I thought you said something like people of milk. What was the translation for the first proverb you mentioned?
Pigap Chego means people of milk.
People of milk. And can you spell that for the record, please?
Your Honor, Pig up Chego means
One second, do you have a sheet of paper and pen? If not, a sheet of paper and a pen should be made available to the witness. He might assist him in spelling things.
Pig up Chego is pig is P-I-K, P-I-K. Ab is A-B. Chego is C-H-E-G-O.
Thank you. And these people of milk, to whom did that refer?
The Kalenjin.
I see. And the second proverb you used, meaning if a rat is bad, it belongs to that house. Can you repeat and spell that in Kanjin, please?
Goya Muriat Kobagot Nebo. This means, like I translated, if a rat is bad, it belongs to that house. To us, the Kalenjins, that one means that if a leader is bad, so long as he is a Kalenjin, he is still ours.
But can you spell the actual words?
Goya is N-G-O-Y-A. Muriat is M-U-R-I-A-T. Kobo is K O B O court is K-O-T. Nebo is N-E-B-O.
Thank you. Now, you've mentioned that Cass FM was the most popular radio station in the Rift Valley. Amongst which community in the Rift Valley was that?
The Kalenjin community.
And what is your source of knowledge about what was being said on Cass FM at that time?
At times, Your Honor, I will hear the program, I will tune in the program and hear myself, and at times, I will hear from discussions of people.
All right. Now, you've mentioned that Cass FM, or Mr. Sang at least, was campaigning for the no campaign. At any time when you yourself was listening to Cass FM, did you hear Mr. Sang referring to the opponents, the persons supporting the yes campaign?
Yes, Your Honor. He advised the people of Kalenjin to vote and hear the words of their leaders.
Very well. I'd like to move away then from 2005 and discuss in the next segment events surrounding the 2007 presidential elections. Mr. Witness, it's not in dispute that the 2007 presidential election vote was held on the 27th of December 2007. Does that accord with your recollection?
It is, Your Honor.
And the presidential results were announced on the evening of the 30th of December. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may I ask to move into private session for no more than 5 minutes?
Private session.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam. Mr. Witness, in the period prior to the 2007 elections, can you please describe the atmosphere in location 9 and surrounding area?
At this time, in location 9, people had already started to group themselves according to their tribes.
And Why was this happening?
Because others had fear of what will happen after elections, and others were already with information from their leaders that elections will be rigged, and therefore they were just waiting for the time to come.
And who are you referring to when you say persons received information from their leaders that elections will be rigged?
From the leaders, Your Honor.
Yes, but I'm talking about the people that had that information. Which ethnicity are you referring to?
The Kalenjin, Your Honor.
And who are the people that had fear of what will happen after the elections?
The Kikuyu. The Kikuyu, Your Honor.
Can you please just give the chamber some information about the ethnic composition of location number 9? Which were the predominant ethnicities in that area?
In this area, it was a mix-up of mostly the Kalenjins and the Kikuyus.
Do I understand from that that the Kalenjin were the majority?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, it's... Just bear with me one moment, please, Your Honor. Yes, let me just clarify one issue. The Kalenjin community in the Rift Valley, which party were they predominantly supporting in the 2007 elections?
The Kalenjins supported the ODM.
And the Kikuyu?
The Kikuyu supported the PNU.
Now, in Area 9, were you aware of any Kalenjin who in fact supported the opposite party, the PNU?
I beg your pardon, Your Honor.
You said that the Kalenjin generally supported the ODM. Were there any who supported the PNU in location 9?
Yes, Your Honor. A few Kalenjins supported PNU.
And what was the attitude of the Kalenjin community, the Kalenjin majority, towards those Kalenjin members who supported the PNU in the area of location number 9?
Kalenjin people who supported PNU were perceived to be enemies amongst the Kalenjins.
How were they treated?
At times, they were not welcomed in discussions. At times, if you are a PNU supporter, when you go to a group of other Kalenjins, you will hear them, you will see that they stop talking because you are there.
And if I can jump forward in time for a moment, after the elections and after the violence that followed, what became of these Kalenjin PNU supporters? Are you aware?
Your Honor, after elections, the Kalenjin PNU supporters were asked to pay a fine and give also either a goat or a bull.
Why was that?
Because they were
All right, I'd like to ask you then a few questions about the atmosphere in the region of location number 8 prior to the 2007 elections. What can you tell us about that?
Your Honor, at location number 8, before elections, people were grouping themselves according to their in the tribal lineage. And also, there were campaigns taking place in group discussions at designated places in town, hotels, and so forth.
All right. Now, I think it's safe to refer to Eldoret town in public session. That is a large town. Can you tell the court about any particular place in Eldoret town where such discussions took place?
Your Honor, there's a designated place in Eldoret town, commonly known as Posta. It is just outside telecom offices in Eldoret town. That is where most people meet to discuss and talk, especially during campaigns and any other discussion that is in the country.
Can you recall any occasions when a leader spoke prior to the elections at the Posta? For the record, I should spell that P-O-S-T-A.
Yes, Your Honor.
And who is that person? I don't think there's any problem about mentioning that name in public.
I remember Mr. Farouk Kibet.
Yes, and firstly, approximately when was this?
It was before elections, Your Honor.
Before the 2007 elections.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you give us an idea of how long before? Weeks, months, days?
Just a few days before elections, Your Honor. Like 3 days.
All right. So we know the election was on the 27th of December. 3 or 4 days before that would put it just before Christmas 2007. You agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Steinberg, before you proceed, I was waiting for an opportune moment to clarify something in the evidence of the witness. During your questioning, Mr. Steinberg, you put it to the witness at some point, I believe it's at page 12, line 10, you premised, or you started with the proposition now you mentioned in relation to the 2005 referendum that at that stage Mr. Ruto was perceived to be or was the spokesperson for the Kalenjins. Was that the testimony of the witness?
That is my recollection of the testimony of the witness yesterday, Your Honours, yesterday late afternoon. I can check that, though.
Witness, is that the position as you understood it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. That's all. Please proceed.
In fact, I can give you the reference, Your Honour. It's
That's all right. That's all right.
as a please.
Yes.
Yes, so we just established the date of Mr. Kibet's discussion at the poster. The source of your knowledge, is this something you witnessed yourself or something you heard from another person?
I heard myself, Your Honor.
And what did Mr. Kibet say when he spoke at that venue?
Mr. Kibet said that if the Kikuyu wanted to stay in Uasin Gishu and Eldoret, they ought to vote in line with the Kalenjin people.
Yes, anything else?
And if not, they needed to go.
To go where?
Out of Rift Valley, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
That's what I remember, Your Honor.
And court will bear with me, please. This Mr. Farouk Kibet, who is he? Tell us a bit more about him, please.
Farouk Kibet is a close friend to Ruto. And also comes from this Eldoret North of Uasin Gishu, Your Honor.
What was Mr. Kibet's involvement in Mr. Ruto's campaign prior to these elections?
He was a chief campaigner of Mr. Ruto.
And after the elections, what post did Mr. Kibet hold?
After elections, Your Honor, you mean which elections?
I'm referring to the 2007 elections. Maybe let me rephrase the question. Are you aware what post Mr. Kibet holds today?
Yes, Your Honor. I know Mr. Farouk Kibet to be the personal assistant of Mr. Ruto.
And to your knowledge, when was he appointed into that position?
I don't know when, Your Honor, but I know he has been very close person to Mr. Ruto.
What is Mr. Kibet's ethnicity?
He is a Kalenjin, Your Honor.
And why is it that Mr. Kibet would have chosen this venue to speak at, this poster venue?
For a very long time now, most people meet at poster because that is where they sell the newspapers, mostly. The Nation newspaper, the People newspaper, the Standard newspaper, around that place, outside that place. So most people meet there to discuss issues that come up from the newspapers. And so mostly people who talk politics in town meet there to discuss, Your Honor.
And what was the reaction of the people when Mr. Kibet said that the Kikuyu should vote for the ODM or leave the Rift Valley?
The Kalenjins and the people who are there actually believed that the words of Mr. Farouk were actually, he was delivering message from Mr. Ruto. And the Kalenjins were very happy for what Mr. Farouk was talking about.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ms. Alexandra, you were rising.
So I'm just a bit concerned because it appears that For a while now, the witness is not able to answer questions looking up. So just to check if he's got something on the table or if there's any other reason why he keeps looking on his table.
Your Honours, I'm not aware. I can see a piece of paper in front of you, Mr. Witness. Is that your PIS form?
Indeed, Ms. Alakendra's observation is correct. We don't know how far we can take that observation, but the last answer in particular, the witness gave that looking down. Witness, do you have a piece of paper in front of you?
Your Honor, what I have is what I was provided. These are the
The PIS, all right. Do not worry. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Witness, it's quite correct for you to look for names and locations when you need to use them, but other than that, it's not necessary to stare at the PIS while you give your answers. All right?
Yes, Your Honor.
But of course, if what you were trying to do is to look at the PIS, identify the places of interest, and then refer to them by the location number indicated in the PIS, you may do that. What the concern is whether maybe you made separate notes that you were looking at during your testimony. That would be what Ms. Alakendra's concern would be about. Now, let's continue.
All right. You briefly mentioned in private session your sources of knowledge for certain plans that were made for the violence which occurred after the 2007 elections. I want to get to one specific aspect of that. So let me first ask you, in terms of what you learned, who was to carry out the violence that occurred after the elections?
Your Honor, the Kalenjin had already arranged and trained their youths in preparation of the war which will take place after elections.
And specifically, what can you tell us about the training of the Kalenjin youth prior to the elections?
Kalenjin youths were trained from different parts of Eldoret and from locations number 9.
All right. Now, I want to ask you specifically about the training in the region of location number 9, but I'm going to have to ask to go briefly into private session. I beg your pardon, Your Honours, just to get a location which I can't mention in public.
Private session.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Honour. Just to recap then, in private session you informed the court, Mr. Witness, that you were aware of training of Kalenjin youth that took place in a location known as Boronjo, which is, I think you said, 4 to 5 kilometers from Ziwa on the Kitale Road, and that you saw youth from location number 9 being transported there, and you spoke to some of the youth from location 9 who had attended this training. Is that correct?
Your Honor, if I heard you well, you said 45, I said 4 to 5 kilometers.
I also said 425. Let's see if the record got that correctly. Yes, the record has it correctly, 4 to 5 kilometers. Otherwise correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Please tell the court what you learned from these youths who attended the training. What took place at that training in Boronjo?
The youths were trained on how not to leave any evidence behind, how to target, what to wear in order not to be identified, how to put houses into fire, and what to use as accelerants to make sure that the houses get flames.
Right, let's get a bit more detail. What were they taught about how to target?
Your Honor, I beg your pardon.
Well, you said in your last answer, the youths are trained on how not to leave any evidence behind, how to target, what to wear in order not to be identified, and etc. What did you mean by they were trained how to target? Target.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kalenjin youths use bows and arrows during war. And here they were trained on how to use them to get the right target.
And what were they taught about what to wear in order not to be identified?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we're still not clear on the previous answer about how to target.
Well, I observe as always my learned friend is welcome to clarify that, but you're referring to bows and arrows, is that correct? When you said they were trained on how to use them to get the right target. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you give any more detail on that to explain it further?
For instance, the people who attended this training told me they will use empty tins of aluminum tins or something like aluminum tins to be put on trees ahead of them, like 10 to 20, 10 meters, 15 meters, and they were using their arrows to target that empty tin from away, like 15 to 20, 10 meters. So that's what I meant by the right to get to the right target. By practicing that and getting to that target often, then when you go to war, if you are targeting to a person, then you will be able to have the right target by shooting your arrow towards that person.
All right. What you've described, I think the English term would be target practice or shooting practice. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Getting back to what the Kalenjin youth were told to wear in order to not be identified, my question was, what were they told? What were they to wear so that they wouldn't be identified?
On what to wear, Your Honor, the Kalenjin youths were advised to wear not a long trouser, but a pair of shorts, and smear their faces with mud, also their legs, and put marks from their knees down and parts and also on their face for identification amongst themselves, but people who are not part of them will not identify them by their names, because now they will look all white and with all of them has pair of shorts.
I see. And you mentioned additionally that they were, if I can find it again, you said something about being taught to put things on fire, and you mentioned accelerants. Tell us more about that.
Your Honor,
Put house.
the youths here were trained on how to use mattresses to put fire and make sure it catches the houses, and how to use sugar as accelerant for heavier flames.
And perhaps I should just correct the record, Your Honours, at, it's just jumped again, the previous page, 23, line 8, the word which now appears as XLRAPBTS, I heard as accelerants. How are the youths to use mattresses to set houses alight?
Your Honor, they will push or pull the mattresses against the walls and then light up the mattresses, and that will ensure that the wooden houses or put that mattresses, that wooden houses will get automatically get flame because of heavy flames from the mattress. Or else, put that mattresses on the ceiling board and light it up for the ceiling board, and the flames from the mattresses will then ensure that the strong houses, which are semi-permanent or permanent houses, all the roof will be on fire.
And are you aware which property this training took place on at Boronjo? Or whose property, should I say?
Yes, Your Honor. I remember the property being, the land of which the training took place was for one of the old man called by a nickname Muzuri.
Muzuri, is that spelled M-U-Z-U-R-I?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I just wanted to make sure the record got you correctly because I didn't hear very well. Did you say how did you describe Missouri? Did you say one of the old men?
As an elder in Boronjo.
Thank you. And who was providing the training for these youths?
The youths were trained by retired army officers.
Do you know any of their names?
Yes, Your Honor. One Mr. Bile from that area was among those who are training the youths.
And the transcript correctly reflects the spelling. So one or two more questions about this. How many youth attended this training, according to your information?
More than 300, Your Honor.
And besides location 9, which other areas did the youth come from?
I'm aware the youth came from location number 9.
My question was, besides location number 9, do you know whether there were youth from any other area?
All right.
Or-
Hold it there, Ms. Alejandra.
Yes, Your Honor. Again, this is an area which is contentious, Your Honor, and we request the prosecutor not to lead. His previous question was quite leading.
Well, not really.
Mr. Steinberg, proceed.
Yes. So you've mentioned youth from location number 9. Are you aware of youth? Was this the only area from which the youth came, or were there youth from other areas as well?
There were other areas, Your Honor.
What other areas are you aware of?
From areas surrounding Eldoret, including Ziwa, the same area Boronjo, and areas neighboring Eldoret town.
And just to get a time frame, can you tell the chamber, please, approximately when or how long before the 2007 elections this training took place?
this training took place like a month on different days. I'm aware the training took place like 1 month before the elections.
I just want to make sure we understand your answer. You say the training took place like a month on different days. Over how many days did the training take place?
Wait. Let's not sure that that's the only inference from how he answered that question that may be drawn. Witness, can you state again what you meant to say? Let's assume you're hearing this question for the first time. How long before the 2000 elections did the training take place? What's your answer?
Like 1 month, Your Honor.
Proceed. You may explore other things, Mr. Steinbach. I just didn't want the interpretation you gave to be the only one that was possible.
Your Honours, I was going to get back to that, but thank you. And how long did the training last?
Like 3 weeks, Your Honor.
And do you know, or can you give us some more details about how long individual youth would attend the meeting? Would they all attend for the whole 3 weeks, or would some go for 1 day and then others the next day? How did it work?
The youths that attended this training attended for the 3 weeks because they were from different places. And these youths who are trained will then go back and pass information and tactics and take back what they were trained to the others at home.
I see. And did the youths remain at Boronjo for the entire time? Did they sleep there, or did they come backwards and forwards every day?
I don't know, Your Honor, whether they slept there, but what I'm aware is that there were vehicles which were ready to take them to the training and back home when they were needed.
Stand by the time.
Thank you, Your Honour. May I just ask one last question on this topic? And in location number 9, what did you personally observe regarding the transportation of these youths to the training?
In this location, Your Honor, from where I was at this location, I could see the vehicles parked, ready to take the youths, and when I knew they were to come back, I will also from this location, it was easy to see when they were coming.
Thank you, Your Honour. I think I can pick that up again after the break.
We will take our morning break now. Witness will also give you 30 minutes to rest, so the chamber will rise after you've been let out of the courtroom. The blinds down and the witness to be escorted from the courtroom. And then you'll join us in 30 minutes.